What is up, guys? It is that Panda Guy, and today we're going to be looking at the overall rules of this new event that we're having here, right? There's no specific date that we have yet, but it is assumed that it is replacing Island Raid, which was about to show up in the event calendar. So if we are right, maybe in the next 2-3 days, maybe you might see it on the calendar. If not, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But it is thought that obviously the event should be coming soon, so we are looking forward to this. They did change the information on this screen, so we're going to talk a bit about it in this video, just cuz, okay? And let's do this. This is kind of awesome. I looked through some of the rules, and this is looking very interesting. So we're going to start off with gameplay. The first thing just says Alliance Force. This is basically the thing about starting on helipad. So I'm not sure if each alliance will have their separate helipad or if it's one legion, because it says this is the starting point for your legion's territory. So it is a bit confusing how this is working. So if it's like considered one big alliance, and if one person builds a tower, they're using the other alliance's building material, or if these are considered separate alliances within the same legion, but you can obviously join each other's buildings and reinforce each other, which I saw in the rules already. It is a little bit vague on how this works, and I'm kind of confused because it will be annoying if you have like just a group of players spamming like towers down, or like an alliance that's sabotaging, you know what I mean, and then you're kind of screwed out because they're using your building material. So I'm assuming that all these alliances are using different building material, but since it's considered a legion's helipad, either this helipad's really big, like in comparison to like Island Raid, so people can build in their own ways, or just something along the lines, because this is a bit confusing for me. I kind of want to understand how this works, how the whole Legion thing works, and how that'll kind of be taken into account for this kind of stuff, because I don't really understand it completely, and I mean, like, I'm hoping for the best in that regard. Okay, so we're going to continue from there. Gather resource nodes or defeat armored scavengers to obtain construction materials for Alliance Watchtower construction. Alliance Watchtowers expand your territory. And you see it right here. This looks like the material that you would have to donate for the stuff on Island Raid. I'm going to assume that you can still donate for material. Maybe this is another method to gain the material, but it doesn't say anything about donating. So we're going to assume for now that the only method for you to obtain these materials is by gathering resources and destroying these armored scavengers. But I will still kind of have the assumption that there is possibly going to be a donation button where you can kind of obtain these materials in another way. The trial consists of 2 rounds. Lead your Legion members to capture the treasure city and hold it until the end of the trial. I'm not really sure what the treasure city is. I'm assuming it's kind of like a village, for example, in like the first zone. Treasure city, unite the alliances and form a legion. So it says unite the alliances and form a legion. I don't really understand this because in another thing, it basically just says that this is chosen by the system. So maybe this is just supposed to sound all cool and you're automatically formed anyways. Round 2, occupy the treasure cities of the enemy legions. Complete the trial and dominate the islands. So this is basically just saying that you're going into, I'm assuming, zone 2, and you're going to be competing with the other alliances or the other legions, other alliances, whatever, for these cities, right? And you're going to basically occupy them. Okay, next we're looking at this. So in this new event, the legions that participate in the battle, each legion will consist of 2 to 5 alliances. So I was assuming, okay, so since there are 20 alliances, there are 4 legions, right? I was assuming it would be something along the lines of this. Let's say you had Boone and another 20. I don't know. Just say you had like two 20 billion alliances on one team, right? I assume that if there were a ton of 10 billion alliances, maybe they would form like 6 on one team, for example, just an example, right? And I don't know, like, I was assuming that might be the case, but what it looks like is there's a cap of 5 alliances, and it will just limit how many alliances can be in your legion. So let's say you have Boone, you have let's say DHX, right? And then you have a bunch of other smaller alliances. They might put 5 alliances in each of those legions, so it can be more comparable in strength and more fair. And then we're kind of limited on maybe our numbers. We're limited on just manpower, all that kind of stuff. So this is the best I can assume how that works. And obviously, if you're always going to have at least one alliance on your team, it looks like. Though for really big mega whale alliances, this is going to be kind of hard. because I imagine they're not going to have a lot of alliances on their side. But yeah, this is to ensure balanced competition. The system will automatically allocate the alliances to legions. So I do actually kind of like this, the fact that they are trying to make this more balanced. At least I'm hoping that they're going to kind of work this out really well, because the fact that they are kind of limiting how many alliances can be in one legion and then more alliances in another legion, I think that is a good testament to maybe having a more balanced kind of matchmaking system, or whatever. So hopefully that is the case, and yeah, we'll see. Next, we're looking at the legion features. So you can share rallies. So if I'm in Boone and let's say DHX is over here rallying, right? Let's say we're both rallying the same tower, because it says that you can rally the same tower, but look, shared rally. Legion members can join any rally of their legion. So I'm not sure if there's gonna be like an alliance screen, and then there's gonna be like a legion screen where you can join, other people or your fellow like legion of alliances. But let's say we launch a rally and DHX launches a rally. It looks like we can both join each other's rallies, but you cannot have two people from Boone, for example, setting a rally on one tower, right? So multiple rallies. Members of the same legion can launch multiple rallies on the same building, but each alliance can only launch one rally, and that's what I was kind of saying. Boone, for example, might only be able to launch one rally. Same with DHX. You can't just launch two, but you can launch one from each alliance on the same tower and join each other's rallies. That's hopefully not too complicated. Shared garrison and aid. Legion members can mutually garrison and aid each other. I'm assuming that this means resources, maybe even sending helps. I'm not sure if that's the case, but that'd be kind of interesting. Shared building construction. Alliance buildings within the Legion are constructed by various alliances. Okay, this answered my question. So each alliance constructs their own buildings, but all Legion members can join the same construction team, meaning that you can have all 5 alliances kind of jumping in the same tower, but only that one alliance can actually build the tower, since they're 5 different actual separate teams. Shared Legion territory buffs, that's kind of self-explanatory. Shared capture, Legion members share the rewards and buffs obtained from capture. That's nice. So you're not going to have to kind of argue over who takes what or who gets the first capture, since it all counts the same for everybody. Armored scavengers will respawn at specific locations, dropping alliance building materials upon defeat. They cannot be rallied against or defeated by using multiple waves of squad. So it looks like you can only use one squad, maybe, if that's what they're talking about, by multiple waves. Or maybe they're saying, like, if you attack with 5 marches, you can't have another 5 marches coming behind it, like, to kind of take up the kill right before it dies, and maybe all your squads die and you have another wave of marches take over. I don't know, maybe that's what it's saying. I'm assuming that this is kind of going to be like Island Raid, where they spawn every reset, so like every 12 hours on kind of city points. So that's what I'm going to be assuming, maybe. There are 2 types of resource nodes on the map, both of which can produce alliance building materials to construct pioneer towers. So it's basically resource nodes. You have these new base warehouses, which can produce food, wood, steel, oil, and a large amount of building. That's interesting. I don't really understand how this works. Maybe you just gather and you get a random resource. I guess we'll see. The map adds 2 types of checkpoints gradually becoming available in the event progress. So it says a level 4 and a level 5 and 6 checkpoint. So what I'm going to be assuming how this works is the level 4 checkpoint, it is exclusive to each legion and only allows the designated legion members to pass through or capture them. So I'm assuming that this is like if you guys haven't seen the map on my previous video, you can check it. But let's say that there are 2 legions right here, right? Let's say this is one legion, this is another legion. Let's say we are the only people who have access to this checkpoint. Nobody else can capture it. Nobody else can pass through it besides our legion. This is probably to prevent people from invading your zone, because if we come into this zone and we lose this zone, right, and we get pushed back to our checkpoints, you don't want this legion right here coming in and just taking over our whole starter zone, right? That would kind of make it unfair. That would make it impossible to kind of gather up, maybe come for prepare for a counterattack and all that kind of stuff. So that's what it's looking like, and that is pretty nice. I kind of like that. So yeah, it looks like you are not going to be able to just go into your enemy legion's kind of starter zone. That's probably the intention. And then for level 5 and 6 checkpoints, this is assumably going to be the ones already in like maybe the next zone or whatever. So when available or not captured, any legion squads are allowed to pass through. So this is interesting. So if the checkpoint's not captured yet, you can just walk right through it. I've never seen anything like that, or I don't think I have. So that's pretty cool actually. So you are able to pass through, but once a legion actually captures it, you only that legion is allowed to pass through it. Meaning that let's say you're having a big fight, maybe you're gonna be swarming through on the other side to try to disperse the other team squads, and maybe they're gonna be doing the same to you. I don't really know, but whoever gets that capture gets to keep that checkpoint, it seems, and that is kind of awesome. I think that's gonna be kind of cool for fights. But if you have one legion just like completely take field control on the other side, there is no chance for the other team to kind of win. But I do think that is kind of necessary because let's say you have a 10 billion alliance and maybe they only have one capable garrison captain, right? Let's say they have one really strong player who just takes over this garrison and he sits in here, right? Because the other team couldn't because you got to understand, when taking checkpoints or taking villages or taking towns, whatever it is like a flip of the coin. I think it's whoever gets the last hit on the target who captures it. So as long as you're that team, as long as you're that player, whatever, as long as you're that alliance, you get that capture. And even if you're a really massive alliance in comparison, you're forced to just rally this thing for ages, and they can just hold you off. So I do think that is kind of nice that you're able to pass through. And if an alliance is stronger and they can take complete field control, I think that they somewhat deserve that field control. As I mean, they kind of earned it, they kind of fought for it. And if you're incapable of defending or fighting over that checkpoint, that is really on you at the end of the day. And I think it's kind of necessary, so you aren't able to just completely turtle down on that thing, and that would be kind of annoying for the other team. And I mean, if you do end up capturing it, you have the right to turtle down, basically, right? And you're the only team that can kind of make those blitz plays. Okay. So the rules: in treasure left on Coco Island, the survivors discovered a map, blah blah blah. Event schedule: once the event starts, the registration period begins. The eligible alliances can register to take part. After the registration period ends, the matchmaking period begins, during which the system will match and allocate opponents based on the overall might of all registered alliances. The lower the individual might within the alliance, the less impact on the matchmaking results. I think that's kind of a given. After the matchmaking period ends, the battle period begins. It compromises 2 stages, and the members of successfully matched alliances can enter the battlefield through the interface. So that's pretty nice. Alliances that did not participate in the registration can watch the battle through the interface. So that is cool. You're gonna be able to just check out whatever region you want, or whatever I guess places that are battling. I mean, it's going to be kind of looking just like looking at island raid maps, G1, G2, G3, or just looking at a region, right? So you'll be able to just check it out. I think that's even for alliances that are already registered in this, you're going to be able to check it out, but I guess you're going to be more busy fighting, so that's why they're probably saying that, to make sure alliances don't feel left out. After the event starts, alliances in each region will be ranked according to their total might. The top 5 alliances will qualify for registration, and the alliance leader or R4 members can register. So what it's basically saying is, in your region, if you are not among the top 5 ranked alliances in strength, you are not able to register. So KZE right here, they would not be able to register for this event. They would basically just be kicked out of the event. So, yeah. Oh shoot, why am I even going here? Okay, but yeah, you basically just have to hit those the strength requirements, or you aren't able to participate in the event. I mean, I think that makes sense. You also have to have at least 50 active members. So if you have, let's say you have 50 members, right, and you have one player who's been logged out for more than 3 days, you are not eligible to be registered. So you need to make sure that you at the very least have 50 active members so that you can still participate in this event and you can register yourselves. The list of participating members will be logged at the end of the registration period and cannot be changed during the event. If a commander is not a participating member or is not in the registered alliance, they will be unable to enter the battlefield, meaning that you can't just jump from alliance to alliance and try to join their battlefields. I mean, I think that's kind of understood. The following situations also prevent entry into the battlefield. Not all squads have been recalled. You're also in a state of battle fever, meaning you can't have your squads out. You can't have scouted or attacked somebody. Other player squads are in your shelter. Just send them back. Shelter level is below 11. And you're in the restricted stage of the immigration event, meaning that if you had just migrated, you obviously cannot be registered and you obviously cannot enter the battlefield. I mean, actually, you might be able to be registered. Let me take that back. I think you might be able to be registered because I don't think it would have even mentioned this in the first place. But I think that you have to wait until your registration period ends, because in Island Raid it did this. It would let you register like this player into your into your island raid or whatever, but you would not be able to enter the battlefield until your migration period, like thing ended. This event is divided into 2 stages. The rewards are given at each stage. At the end of stage 1, the legion that captures any treasure city wins. I don't really understand this because it keeps sounding like stage 1 is a safe stage. Maybe half of it is like you preparing or you going towards your checkpoints to start into the next zone, or I don't really get this, but maybe you're supposed to capture something in zone 2, which is called a treasure city, and then you win. At the end of stage 2, the faction that captures all treasure cities wins. So there's going to be multiple treasure cities. I'm not really sure how this is going to work. I mean, we can only speculate at this point, you know what I mean? But it's kind of weird because it sounds like maybe there's only 2 treasure cities, so maybe this is in zone 2 where you're going to have to fight for it. So I'm assuming that means that you're the winner of, zone 2, and then whoever captures the other treasure city wins. I mean, there's always zone 3. I don't know if that's also considered a treasure city, but maybe like a more advanced one. I'm not really sure. All members of the winning faction will be ranked based on their accumulated individual points. The Alliance watchtowers are called Pioneer watchtowers. Basically you just use these Alliance building materials that you have to farm for to construct them. These can also be obtained from the battlefield by gathering resource nodes, defeating squads, also transporting these Alliance building materials. So if you see somebody farming mobs or something, or farming these scavengers, if you go and attack those scavenger killers, you can basically obtain their building materials if you kill them before they get back to their base, and then transporting it to your own shelter. So you have to kill them and then you have to walk it back to your shelter. The construction limit of Pioneer towers, so watchtowers, is fixed and cannot be affected by other factors. So I'm not really sure how much this is. I'm assuming that the watchtower construction limit is maybe higher than Island Raid. So if Island Raid is 50 towers, maybe this new event has maybe a capacity of 100 towers, maybe 150 towers. Can't really say that yet. And it is not affected by other factors. The watchtower built in the island, blah, blah. So this basically just explains what will be affected, and these are just stuff that you can kind of research in your alliance to kind of make the alliance building durability higher, construction speed higher, all that kind of stuff. And last off, we're just going to look at this last screen. After alliance is registered, it cannot withdraw registration, meaning you can't just register and be like, nah, I don't really want to go into this anymore. The system assigns each alliance to a legion, and this assignment cannot be manually changed. Please check your mail and confirm registered alliances before entering the battlefield. You won't be able to enter the battlefield if you are not in the registered alliance. So you can't just keep swapping back and forth. Like I said previously, in the battlefield, you're not allowed to locate between unconnected checkpoints. So basically, your legion at least has to have a checkpoint to locate, in that zone. That's kind of self-explanatory. I think most people understand that by now. In the battlefield, relocators that are affected by Alliance territory will instead be affected by Legion territory, meaning that you can teleport on your, supposedly you can teleport on your fellow Legion members' territory. So if another Alliance builds a tower, you can probably teleport on that tower. The items affected are as follows: specific relocators, newcom relocators, just relocators. At the end of stage 1, the factions will be decided based on the capture of the treasure cities and towers. So I don't understand how this faction things work. Right? It says the factions will be decided like this. I'm not sure what the factions exactly means. Maybe they're these, like maybe they're the colors. I don't really understand what the factions are exactly. You know what I mean? Legions that capture the designated cities will be directly assigned to the corresponding faction. So I'm assuming that maybe they're like these low things, like I said, and maybe there's like corresponding buffs that you get. I'm not really sure. I don't really understand that. If you don't capture one, do you just get like a lesser faction or something? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't really understand that. Capturing designated towers will increase the affiliation of the corresponding faction among the remaining legions. Those with high affiliation with Westwood will be assigned to the Westwood factions. Similarly, those with the high affiliation to East Bay will be assigned to the East Bay faction. I don't really understand how the factions work. I mean, this can only be wait to see, right? It's one of those wait and see kind of things, because I mean you can't really understand what it means, and if there's like corresponding buffs you get for a certain faction or something. Members in the battlefield cannot leave the alliance or be dismissed, meaning like if you go into the actual island, you can't leave the alliance while in the island. If you go into there, you can't be kicked while in the alliance, and alliances cannot be disbanded during the event. You'll need a relocator to leave the battlefield during the event. You won't be able to leave the battlefield otherwise. So, it's kind of the same as Island. If you want to leave, you need like a random relocator, or you need a relocator. I'm assuming random relocators are fine. The battlefield will remain for 12 hours after the event ends before being destroyed. This time, exiting the battlefield will not consume it. I mean, I think this is all kind of self-explanatory stuff right here. But yeah, that is pretty awesome, guys. I mean, you guys give me your thoughts. I just wanted to talk a bit about it. I wanted to read through the rules, maybe give my thoughts and kind of explain it better, because I know not everybody just understands what everything means. I know some of this stuff can be confusing for a lot of people. So I do hope I did a good job explaining it. I am really excited for this. I think it might be slightly longer than Island Raid. Maybe it's the same time period, and they're just trying to, they're going to try to be really picky about how much time you spend in each zone or something, or maybe give you a day to recover after taking a certain checkpoint and maybe taking over a zone. I'm not really sure, but this is very interesting, and I am looking forward to this event. So I do hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys just give me your thoughts in the comment section. If you have anything you want to say, if you want to ask anything, if you want to just talk about this event or say, yeah, let's go, we're excited for it, just let me know. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys. This has been a pleasure. You guys have a great day or night though, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and that is it to the video. So yeah, peace.